As a photographer, I believe there's nothing better than a dedicated photography trip, but shooting close to home has always been a true passion of mine. It allows me to capture photographs that are simply not possible on trips further afield. In today's video, I'm sharing some inspiration that will hopefully help you capture great photos closer to home. When I first moved to Pembrokeshire 2 years ago, I received a comment from a viewer that said, "You won't find any new photographs in Pembrokeshire. Everything's been done to death, but good luck." And this comment stayed in my mind almost every single time I pick up the camera to photograph my local area. Now, I genuinely feel sorry for the person who sent that comment in, because while many popular coastal locations have indeed been photographed, there's so much more to landscape photography than those well-known shots. If we learn to open our eyes and see what's below our feet and hidden in the foliage, it opens up another world of opportunities for us as photographers. So I've got my first shot here, and it looks really nice on the back of the camera. I'm really pleased with it so far as well. So basically what we've got an old decaying oak tree which is completely dead. You know, it's been dead for some time, but there's a lot of new life clinging to it, mosses, lichens and ferns as well. So even though it's dying, it's an abundance of new life. So that's really cool. On the right hand side, we've got a holly bush with some red berries, which is really nice. On the left hand side, we've got autumnal branches creeping into the frame, offering a warmer tone to the image. It's also being kind of backlit as well, even though the sun's actually behind me. There's a gap in the canopy which is allowing that light to pour through and backlight the mossy branches. So yeah, quite a simple image. The reason I think it stands out is we've got a very uniform backdrop. There's a lot of bushes and shrubs beyond, and it's all very similar in colour, so it helps to make the subject stand up in a very chaotic environment. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this shot now. F11 on about half of a second. There's not too much wind at the minute. ISO 125, focusing in on the middle branch. And I think that's a decent one to start the morning, and it certainly appears so on the back of the camera anyway. So let's go see if we can find another shot. One of the great things about shooting locally is that we can react quickly to extraordinary conditions. This shot of Comet Neowise was taken at a seemingly dull location, with just a ploughed field and a lone tree making up the composition. It looks so boring during the daytime, but because of the unusual event, I think it makes for a nice image. This shot not too far from here is of a well photographed location. However, since we don't normally experience aurora activity this far south, I was able to capture a unique photograph. Before we move on to the next shot, please let me plug my landscape photography zine 30 Days Volume 1. It's a collection of 48 photos taken during a 30-day period, and it was an awesome project, and all of the photos were captured locally too. I think the furthest I travelled to a single location was about 50 miles, but most were within a 15-mile radius of where I live. The photos are printed on silk paper, and it will make a lovely gift and help support the channel too. Anyway, let's go and grab another shot. So, I think I found another shot. Just setting things up. I've been playing around handheld, trying to get the composition sorted, and it's a very, very chaotic scene. We've got this amazing oak tree which is coming out of these boulders, and there's a birch in the background with its autumn foliage. Absolutely wonderful here, but it is very, very busy, and I'm trying to fine-tune the composition, eliminate as many distractions as possible, but bring in the character of this piece of woodland as well, because it is absolutely beautiful. Such a special place this is. So one of the problems I am having is there's a trunk in the background that's snapped off and it's decaying, and it's kind of cluttering up the composition a little bit. I'd prefer if it wasn't there, but it is. So what I've decided to do is position it over the silver birch there in the background, which I think just helps simplify things a little bit. If it's just slightly offset, then it tends to be a little bit cluttered. So I think aligning it with that silver birch does help a little bit. And yeah, I think it helps just to simplify that backdrop. I just want the eye to be drawn through this tunnel that we've created with the overhanging branches. So I'm at f13 because this the branch that comes across through the scene actually is coming towards me. So there's quite a large depth of field here. I don't mind if the birch is a little bit soft in the backdrop, but I definitely want the details, the wonderful mosses and ferns in this branch here to be nice and sharp. So f13 takes care of that. I don't really fancy focus stacking. So yeah, a second, ISO 125. Grab this image now, some lovely autumn colours. I genuinely feel that the more you get to know your local area, the deeper the connection you have with it. After all, your photography is a product of your environment. If you get to know your environment, there's a really good chance you'll get to know yourself as a photographer too. And that is an incredibly valuable thing. So I stumbled upon this wonderful little scene just here. Looks absolutely beautiful. Some amazing colour. We've got the oak trees in the background with a really orangey coloured leaves, and this oak here seems to have a lot more green on it as well, which is quite interesting. I guess it's just how they catch the light. But these boulders in the foreground look absolutely amazing. They all kind of lead down towards the oak at the back there, and they're catching this backlighting as well, which looks, it just looks beautiful. It's got all the ingredients of a really nice looking shot. I've boosted my ISO to 400 to allow me to get half a second at f13. f13 again, I've got quite a big depth of field here. These boulders are only about 1.5 meters away from the lens at 16mm. I need to be able to get that tree in the background sharp as well. f13 allows me to do that if I focus just in front of the tree down there. So yeah, really like how those branches on the left hand side draw the eye through, keep the eye focused on where it needs to go, which I think is always a good thing. Now, I often talk with other photographers on one-to-ones and workshops or in emails and messages that they struggle with woodland photography, and I completely understand that for several reasons, which I'll touch on shortly. However, with hard work and patience, the images will definitely come along. Now, I don't consider myself to have mastered woodland photography, far from it, but one thing I do know is that I thoroughly enjoy every single second I spend with my camera searching for photos in the woodland. And I found it's had a profoundly positive impact on me, not only as a photographer, but also on my general well-being as well. So a few key things to consider when photographing the woodland. There is always something to shoot. There's always something to photograph. If the light or conditions aren't working for the wider scene, look for leaf litter, bark, textures, fungi, or other intimate scenes, because there is beauty absolutely everywhere. You've just got to find it. And secondly, you've got to put in the legwork, probably more so than any other genre of photography. And because of this, good photos will be less frequent. Now, I spent 2 days scouting new woodlands last week and found one location that I would like to visit in foggy conditions, which I think will make a portfolio image. However, it may take several failed attempts before I get the shot, but that's absolutely fine with me, because I know that when I do finally get that image, it will mean so much more to me. Because of the time that I've spent, it really will feel like I've achieved something, and that is very, very rewarding. So one thing I love to do is revisit locations that I've shot before to see if I can get better images, especially if I love the composition. Now, this shot was set up for here, I took in last week's video, and I really liked it. So I thought I'd come a week later, because obviously it's autumn, we've got those vibrant colours changing, so I'm hoping maybe I can get a better shot here with more vibrancy. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm not going to talk too much about the composition because obviously we covered that last week, but what I will do is put both images up on the screen for you to take a look at. Let me know which you think is better. Shush, I'm not asking you. So yeah, it'd be really interesting to see which is better. I think the colours are better today, but I think the light was maybe better last week, but it'd be interesting to see nonetheless. So let's go ahead and grab this image. Half a second, f11, ISO 125, and please do excuse the woofy collie in the background. Oh, I love this scene. Textures, patterns and close-up shots can be found absolutely everywhere, and they can certainly help fill the gaps between those longer trips away. Shooting locally also allows us to take advantage of extreme weather conditions too. In the video up here, I visit a local beach to photograph the events of Storm Kieran, which I highly recommend if you haven't already seen it. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like because that really does help me out. And if you'd like to support the channel further, then please do consider checking out my zine. Until next week guys, take care and I'll see you all very soon.